Eleanor had just turned 68 when she stood in front of the bathroom mirror one morning and truly noticed her face. The wrinkles weren't new, they had crept in over the years, but that day they looked like carvings, deep and undeniable. She stared at herself, not with sadness, but with a quiet acceptance. "So, this is what time looks like," she whispered. Nobody had warned her about what aging would really feel like. They had joked about gray hair and forgetting where you put your keys, but they hadn't told her the truth, the raw, sometimes painful, sometimes beautiful truth. The first difficult truth she learned was that your body becomes unfamiliar. The joints ached without warning. Her balance wasn't the same. Sometimes she'd look down and wonder when her hands became her mother's hands. It wasn't just vanity, it was disorientation. To live in a body that felt like someone else's while still being very much herself. The second truth: people stopped seeing you. Clerks looked past her. Younger people interrupted her in conversation. Doctors sometimes spoke to her like she was a child. It wasn't cruelty, it was invisibility. And at first it stung. But over time she realized invisibility could be power. She could move through the world unnoticed, untethered to expectations. Third, friendships change or disappear entirely. Some people moved away. Some grew sick. Some simply stopped calling. The web of friendships that had once supported her felt looser now, like threads pulled too thin. It wasn't anyone's fault. Life just pulled people in different directions. The challenge was learning not to take it personally. The fourth truth was a shock. Loneliness is different than being alone. Eleanor had spent time alone before. She enjoyed solitude. But the loneliness that crept in after retirement was different. It wasn't just empty hours. It was the silence after no one asked how your day was. She had to teach herself how to be her own company again and make peace with that. Fifth, regret visits more often. Not necessarily for big things, but for the small ones. Phone calls she didn't make, apologies she didn't offer, chances she didn't take. At night, when the house was quiet, those thoughts came like whispers. She learned not to argue with them, just to listen and forgive herself. Sixth, sleep changes in strange ways. She could fall asleep easily but woke up often, at 2 a.m., then 4, then again just before dawn. No one told her that sleep in old age came in pieces, like a story you had to keep rereading. But with time, she stopped fighting it. A cup of tea, a good book, and a quiet moment in the stillness became part of her night. Seventh, you begin to fear falling more than almost anything else. Not just physically, but metaphorically too. A fall could mean the hospital. It could mean your independence slipping away. She caught herself holding railings more often, stepping cautiously, calculating each movement. It made her feel vulnerable, but also wise. Every step became a decision. Eighth, you start to outlive people you love. This was the hardest. The funeral of her closest friend Anna shattered her in a way she didn't expect. Not just because Anna was gone, but because Eleanor couldn't pick up the phone and share life with her anymore. Grief became a quiet companion, always there, sitting beside her in the passenger seat. The ninth truth? You must fight to stay curious. It would have been easy to stop trying new things, to settle into sameness. But she forced herself to read new books, take different walks, strike up conversations with strangers. Curiosity, she discovered, wasn't just for the young. It was a lifeline for the aging mind. 10th, your relationship with time changes. In her 30s, time stretched ahead like a long road. Now time felt like a series of small doors. Each day mattered more. The minutes weren't to be wasted. She savored things slower. A cup of coffee, a bird at the feeder, the sound of the wind through the trees. Life had become more precious because there was less of it. 11th, you stop caring what people think, and it's liberating. For decades, Eleanor had dressed to please, spoken carefully, held in opinions to keep the peace. Now, she wore what felt good, spoke when she had something to say, and let people misunderstand her if they must. There was freedom in not needing approval. And the 12th truth, the one that took the longest to learn. Joy is still possible, but you have to choose it. It doesn't fall into your lap anymore. You must create it, seek it out, protect it. Sometimes it came in baking cookies for the grandchildren, sometimes in planting tomatoes, sometimes just in getting out of bed and opening the window. Small joys, quiet joys, but real. Eleanor didn't sugarcoat aging. It was hard. It was strange. It was full of things no one had warned her about, but it was also rich with lessons. There were moments of grief, yes, but there were also moments of laughter, often at herself. There was the warmth of new routines, the beauty of simpler pleasures, the deepening understanding of what really mattered. She didn't want to be young again. She just wanted to live this stage of life fully, honestly, and without shame. One morning, she stood in front of the same mirror, brushing her thinning white hair, and smiled. "This is not the end," she said softly. "It's just another kind of beginning." And with that, Eleanor made her tea, watered her plants, and wrote a letter to her grandson. Because the truths of aging weren't meant to scare, they were meant to prepare. And she had decided she would age with her eyes open, not pretending, not hiding, but embracing it all, one difficult, beautiful day at a time.